Alright, welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 489. Oh, I should point out, though, for now anyways, until I get the chance to watch Zyuranger, this probably come once a week now. For reviewing the series here right now, which is number 1 Sentai, Gozyuger! Reviewing episode 34 for the series. Excuse me. Which is known as Scattered Battle Scars, Gray Glow. Basically, we started off with Hano coming down the stairs, basically the half-century cafe, and we have Ryogi, where he is basically singing praises to Tanga's sword, and of course he's jealous of him for basically uniting with him. And then they get basically invited from Byakuya to have a thank you party. And pretty much all the Gozyuger show up at his house. They have a nice meal. They go to sleep. Meanwhile, though, while this is going on, where Tanga June is found by Banquet and Fire Candle, where basically they have love for basically their queen, and they go find Shining Knife, which they do. And I ask him, "Are you agent of the Cataclysm or remember the Bedlam?" He refers himself as the general of the Bedlam. And then, with the three of them, along with their grunts, they proceed to attack Ray's house. And then, of course, Ray summons a bunch of 80s grunts, plus, of course, the grunts from Gal Ranger. Yes. Now, interesting the fact he did with some of these things. So they beat him in a really cool fight sequence. Reminds me a lot of Forever Red a little bit, especially the fights and look like to be like a factory, even though we're in a house. Yes. And of course, the house itself, the interior of this thing, reminds me of the house from Commodore O's. That's what the thing reminds me of. So then, of course, no, I didn't press my finger. I just had a string in my finger. So moving on from that. So then, of course, during the course of fighting, Bedlam is wounded and has to flee. And during the course of this, Miss Sweet Candle wakes up after being dead for a few episodes, after being dead for 2 episodes. Yeah, after basically it's like, yeah, he remembers the fact that he's a member of the Cataclysm, but he's also, yeah, his wife wakes up and they're happy. And meanwhile, though, basically, Byakuya goes to confront basically his former mentor, and about to fight, but the Gozyuger show up, and then they battle basically the grunts, and at the beginning of them, of course, then of course Ray battles, well, Ray is basically first when he's basically Magi Red, and then it comes Bedlam, Lucknow basically assisted by Semiko and Hano, which, of course, basically, when he's Bedlam, basically is able to take out 2 rings. Yep, 2 rings. Also, before this, and this is kind of interesting, so Ree decides to bring out of his ring Asum, who was absorbed back in episode 29. He's back here, he's given the Q Ranger ring. And then he's basically, well, they battle him for a bit, and then they deal with him. So, and then of course, basically, the 2 rings that they get from, of course, Ray, well, from Ray, from Bedlam's body, is rings from Mad Ranger and Zyuranger. In Zoology, yes, they get those 2 rings. And Unicorn gets basically, well, she gets Q Ranger and Senkaiger. Yep. And by the way, Tyranno still doesn't have any rings. Yeah, and by this episode here, so how many rings does Wolf have? Dawn Brothers, Jetman, Time Ranger, Bokenger, Shurikenger, Go-Go 5, Go Busters, Flashman, Loop Ranger, Panther Ranger, Go Ranger, Valkyrie J, O Ranger, Abba Ranger, and Car Ranger. 15 rings. Yeah, he has 15 rings. Lion That's Byakuya's character. That's him. He has roughly 4: Sun Vulcan, Gal Ranger, Magic Ranger, and Zoologer. Tyranno has no additional rings because he gave up like episode 28, I think it was. Actually, it was 30 because Unicorn currently has basically Rider Soldier, Gingham Man, Gozyuger, Mega Ranger, Q Ranger, and Zenkaichi. So she has roughly 6. Polar has Keki Ranger, Gokaiger, Zoo Ranger, Hurricaneger, Boomanger, and Tokyuger. Yes, 6. And as in the case of the Ring Hunter, who's actually not in this episode, yeah, surprisingly he's absent. And he has Jock, Denji Man, Gozyuger, Live Man, Tub Ranger, Gogo 5 Man, Ninjanger, Dynaman, Change Man, Mask Man. So he has second most amount of rings. Yes. So then Bedlam goes to giant size, and then of course basically, well, Hano basically summons basically the mech version of, well, the combination of sword he got in the last episode, which of course basically this basically it's like a combination of like a Tengu Sword Robo. Yep. And then, of course, he used to be Bedlam. Yep. 2 episodes after his debut, he's done. So, Sweet Candles, well, and then, of course, SM, who is out of mind control stuff. Of course, know about the fact he was an alien, and then the UFO shows up where he's taken away, and that's the episode. Oh. Well, but we're not doing it just yet. Rei is arrested for the kidnapping of Otto. Otto was recovered by her sister. And, of course, basically, Rei wants to see... actually, Byakuya wants to see Rei smile once again. And that's the episode. Finished watching this episode. Feels like we had like several plot threads get wrapped in one episode. The thing with Otto, Rei, that whole thing got wrapped up here. Bedlam. I'm like, wow. I was kind of surprised the fact we had like 3 or 4 different plot threads wrapped up in one episode. The whole thing with searching for Rei, that's been going since the start of the show. You probably think like, well, he's arrested. He's in jail for kidnapping Otto. And of course, she's got her sister back. So you probably like, what is there for someone to do? Because there are 2 major things she wanted to do. Find her sister and get her kidnapped in custody. It's like her story is done. I mean, Rei doesn't plan to basically break anytime soon, but I would say the only thing major left to go for her is probably get Otto out of our coma. Aside from that, that's pretty much it for her. But I did enjoy this episode, and, well, we have roughly 15 to 16 episodes left to go for the whole entire thing of Gozyuger. Oh, we do in fact see the whole #1 battle thing between Rei and Byakuya, which of course Byakuya wins. But yeah, overall, good episode. And next episode will be episode 35. Yep, 35. We're getting close to basically the end of this. We're about a quarter way to the end. Okay? So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe to notifications. Next up we have is a comic corner, and it's on to back to my just spell. Okay, next view. Bye.